Welcome everyone to this video series of developing applications using generative AI. Cool and useful applications that we can use in our day-to-day life. In today's video, we'll talk about developing a tool to summarize documents. So there are many different techniques to summarize a document. Of course, we'll discuss them in detail. But first, let me show you a tool where you can upload a document and provide what aspect of the content you should focus on to summarize the document. You can give those outlines or topics, the simple descriptions, and the tool is going to kind of create a summary based on that and display in a very nice tabular format and highlighting the key points in the summary. And then those summaries can also be extended and expanded if you need what context those summaries are created. This particular tool is actually developed using a new web framework called FastHTML. FastHTML is a completely new web framework developed by the famous Jeremy Howard of Fast API and his team, and this framework allows you to develop web applications using Python completely. There is no knowledge of JavaScript or CSS required at all. I really love the framework, so I wanted to give it a try and of course use generative AI to create some application. And here is a tool. I'm going to give the link to the tool. It's actually hosted on Hugging Face now in the description below, and of course you can go and try the tool yourself. So let me first demonstrate the tool to you. So here's the tool which takes a model, the LLM model, which you can leverage to summarize the document. So I give an option to either choose OpenAI or Anthropic, and then of course you can give the secret key and choose the file. As of now, I'm allowing only to upload a PDF file, and for this I have taken the same case study that we used previously in the previous video. Netflix goes to Bollywood. It's a very interesting case study, and we have done the question answer generation in the first video. So in this video we'll simply summarize the document. So I'm going to upload the file, and again I'm going to give you in the instruction text area, I'm going to focus on when you're creating the summary, focus on 4 different aspects. Again, the factual, so derive the important facts from the document and create a nice summary. And SWOT analysis, the strength, weakness, opportunity and threats that's mentioned in the document, make a section of that. Decisions and outcomes, what decisions Netflix took in the journey into the Bollywood, and what were the outcomes, success or failure, create a section for that. And ethical and governance considerations. So based on this 4, I'm going to create a first I will do it with only the first 2, and we'll see that then we'll add the other 2 to create a summary. So let's create a summary of that. So let's create with only the first 2 on and summarize. So it's going to summarize the document, and of course will take a few minutes. So to avoid that, of course I am already created that. So let's go ahead and look at it. So you can see on the right side it actually creates a panel and beautifully summarizes the document. So based on the factual and SWOT analysis. Currently I'm only generating 3 or 4 different line items for the summary, but of course which can be done to increase the number of summary line items. So first one said by 2019, Netflix had about 167 million paid subscribers worldwide and had an enterprise value of $157 billion. And Netflix launched its cheapest mobile-only subscription plan in India in July 2019, priced at $2.85 per month. And you can see a plus symbol there. You can also expand that to see little more context to the summary. For example, why is that? Why did Netflix launch a plan, a cheapest plan? In an effort to penetrate the price-sensitive Indian market, Netflix introduced its most affordable mobile-friendly subscription plan, and the strategic move aimed to attract a broader audience in a country with population of course, 1 billion. So you can actually create this interesting summary within a span of few seconds and just quickly go through the important points, and some of those important facts within the summary itself are highlighted. So you can go through that. So I have also done summaries for all the 4 points. This takes about 5 to 10 seconds to generate that. And you can see the factual SWOT analysis, decision and outcomes, ethical and governance. In decision and outcomes, so Netflix decided to invest heavily in original content, spending about $15 billion in 2019. So rather than merger acquisitions, a decision to invest in original content was aimed at differentiating itself from the competitors and attracting more subscribers. And the strategic move actually proved to be successful, as it helped Netflix build unique content library and maintain its market leadership. This is also very interesting point here in the ethical governance. Netflix corporate culture promotes agility and innovation as outlined in the Netflix culture deck. This is something I was not aware. What I was thinking, what is actually Netflix culture deck? Then I searched and found that very interesting. Netflix actually has presented about the corporate culture in a deck. It's about 127 pages document. It's a very famous deck actually. So you can search for Netflix culture deck in the Google and you can find that out. And it's a very 127 pages document explaining the corporate culture of Netflix. So this was not aware, and quickly I could summarize, and it actually gives a reference to that. So it becomes very interesting. And here they talked about, I'm just going to a couple of slides. They're talking about isn't loyalty good? What about hard workers? And what about brilliant jerks? So they prefer loyalty. So loyalty is good as a stabilizer. So people who have been stars for us and hit a bad patch get a near-term pass because we think they are likely to become stars for us again. So they typically prefer loyalty. What about hard work? They're saying not relevant. We don't measure people by how many hours they work and how much they're in the office. Rather, they care about accomplishing great work. Right? So sustained A-level performance despite minimal effort rather than sustained B-level performance. And and interesting, brilliant jerks. Some companies tolerate them, but for us, cost to effective teamwork is too high. Diverse styles are fine as long as person embodies the 9 values. You can of course go through this deck, very interesting deck. But you won't be knowing unless, of course, you have to either go through the whole document to find out certain aspects, or you can simply summarize and quickly points to that. So I will give the link to the tool. You can leverage it and summarize documents. Ensure that you provide the topics on which the summarization should focus on and give a small description. So based on that, it automatically summarizes and creates sections, dynamically creates sections in the summaries. But there are many different techniques to summarize documents. So let me go through them quickly. So there are 3 core techniques. One is we call it one pass summary, or people also call stuffed summary. And then there is one called map reduce summary, and the third one is called refine summary. If the document is a small document, I think it's fine. One pass or stuffed summary is fine, especially if the document is a little larger, to ensure that it does not miss out any points in the document. Typically, uh, we can leverage MapReduce or refine summary. So what it does is, in one pass summary, of course, we can send the complete document in one single prompt to the generative AI, saying that can you summarize this, right? And of course we can provide instructions how to summarize, and then that goes in a single prompt to the large language model, and then returns a summary. Okay, while returning summary, you can also control how the summary should be represented, where in a particular structured format. So I have leveraged Pydantic, which of course I'm going to show you in the code how I have actually taken the structured summary is written, so that I can create a tabular format, not a really free flow text in the summary. This will of course ensure that it summarizes, it has the context of the complete document and summarizes at once, one pass. The alternative is to also do MapReduce summary. In the MapReduce summary, what we do is, the document is a little larger, we take the document and typically chunk the document. There are many different chunking strategies are there. For example, simply by character based or semantic chunking, but simple character based is also good enough. So let's say we can split the document into 3 chunks, and these chunks not necessarily completely mutually exclusive. They can be kind of overlap a little bit, so that they don't lose the context from the previous chunk. And what you can do is, you can send each chunk along with the instruction in the prompt to summarize, right? So we'll send a chunk 1 first to the LLM, and then chunk 2, and then chunk 3, and independently let them summarize. So you can say summarizing the first chunk, summarizing second chunk, and summarizing the third chunk independently. Then what you can do is, you can send all these summaries, combine them. So this process is called map. So if you know the MapReduce approach, and then this approach is called reduce. Then we combine all the summaries together and finally send it to LLM again one more time, only the summaries, to saying that, okay, can you now consolidate all the summaries into the final summary. So that this kind of gives you a little bit of more view into the chunks in detail, rather than sending at once. The third one is, of course, even better. I feel I have used refine, and it turns out to be really good. It's called refined summary. In refined summary, what we do is, again we chunk the document into multiple different chunks, and you can say chunk 1, chunk 2, and chunk 3. Then we first send the chunk 1 to the LLM along with the instructions to summarize. So this is the summary of the first chunk. And then what we do is, we combine this summary along with the chunk 2, saying that this is what the summary we have obtained from the previous context in the document, and here's a new information chunk. So S1 plus chunk 2 we send along with the instructions to consolidate. So we're continuously refining as we read the document, right, with some previous information, summary information, and then we create second summary, which now contains some information from the previous chunk as well as the new chunk, and then again we send the summary 2 along with the chunk 3, and finally we get the final summary, which will be the final summary, and we can look at that. This ultimately contains all the previous summaries information consolidated within it. Especially MapReduce and refined summaries are used when you have to kind of summarize larger documents. In this tool, of course, for the time being, I have used only stuffed, and so that small documents can be parsed, but I'll of course extend this to include MapReduce or refined summary. So now let's look at the code implementation of it. I've used a LangChain LangChain framework to summarize. But this is the important stuff within the code is I've created 3 different classes, pydantic classes, to kind of control the response from the LLMs. You can actually ensure that you give enough instructions to summarize and provide the structured response. For example, I have 3 classes here. They are pydantic classes. So this is called the summary line, which kind of represents one summary point in the output, which should contain the summary item itself. That means actual summary sentence highlighting the key information. Then some keywords in that, a list of exact words and phrases in the summary item so that you can mark them in red or whatever to highlight them. Then there's a brief description in case I want to expand that. So this is elaborate description to provide context and background to the summary item. So these 3 different points. And then there'll be multiple summary items within a topic. So I'm creating one called topic summary, which should provide a topic like factual. And within that, there'll be a list of summary lines. Right, you can give that. And then finally the complete summary, which will be nothing but a list of these topic summaries. Right. So I want to control the output from the large language model so that it gives me an array of summary about a topics, and within each topic there will be multiple summaries. And this pydantic classes will be converted into a JSON schema and will be sent to the large language model along with the instruction so that the LLM understands how to respond it. And of course, then the actual instruction, write a concise summary of the case study given in the context. Okay. Of course, I've given the term case study, which can be changed to article or something. The summary should be based on the following topics: factual, short, decision, ethical, governance. This is I have initialized, but moment you change this in the text area, this will be overwritten again. And then provide the actual content. And the response must follow the following schema strictly. Also, there will be a penalty for not following the schema. So this is to ensure that LLM understand that the response has to be based on the schema itself. Okay. And then the schema is actually given. I'll show you how the schema is given. Then there's a method to get the model, which model you want based on whether you select OpenAI or Anthropic. And I'm not going through in detail about the fast HTML, which of course I'll do another video to go through how to develop web applications, or you can actually go through the fast HTML page itself. So fast HTML so how to develop modern web applications in pure Python, fastht.ml. You can go through how to, they have wonderful examples, very beautiful documentation to help you through that. So I have defined a method called one pass summarize, which takes the page content, the summary sections, and the model. So here I'm going to create the template for summarization. So here I'm basically giving the format instructions. Okay, and those format instructions are taken from the pydantic class complete summary that we have defined here. The complete summary. And we're going to generate the format instructions. And how does it actually look like? I've also written a blog that you can actually look at it. I'm going to provide the link to the blog also in the description. So this is how the actual schema looks like. So it automatically generates the schema from the class definitions. and you can see the summary lines, items, right? The scheme. So this is actually passed along with the instruction to the large language model, and then you're going to create a pipeline. The prompt goes to the model, and when the model comes, the output parser will be again leveraged to parse the response and convert it back to the Python objects, and then I invoke it with the actual content and then the instructions. It returns a summary, and once summaries are written, of course I'm going to create the table. So there is a method to generate a table here. So it's as simple as defining the Pydantic classes to control the response generation, then defining the instructions, the prompt, and then ensure that the right content and the format instructions are embedded properly, structured, and then creating the prompt template and then invoking the model itself. And then when it gets back, of course you have to create a table, which of course fast HTML, we're going to create that. So I'm going to provide the link to the tool, which is hosted in Hugging Face, and the blog link also, so you can go through them. So please use the tool, and again there are no safeguards here, which of course will address in the future videos. So ensure that you use it carefully, and let me know if you have any feedback, and of course you can extend that tool, adding new features. So thank you for watching the video, and again see you in the next video. Thank you.